Dan Sheekoz. He's Russian. And I've seen his channel before. I've watched it before. He has a wife. His wife, I believe, speaks English. He speaks English too. So he has this channel where he sort of goes around telling everybody about Russian life. Sort of like he's got about as many subscribers as I do. But he gets a hell of a lot more views, that's for sure. So it seems like he's doing propaganda now. He's probably forced to do propaganda. He has no other choice. He lives in Russia. But many of his, I'm really sure he's forced to do this. Like, he doesn't have a choice. But it's real obvious. It is. It's real obvious. And he's putting out these videos that are, he used to do stuff like Russian grocery store, 99% of goods, just a whore, right? What will you get in Russia for a $100 a month apartment? So it's sort of interesting. I've watched him. But all of a sudden, he's putting out propaganda. It's clear it's propaganda because one of his is gasoline prices in Russia after sanctions. Do you know how much they have more than they need now? So nobody wants it. Is this the guy that trained in performance art? Dan, you mean? Not me. I don't know. He's got a wife and kids. He's got a wife and a kid. So 2 days ago, he put out gasoline prices in Russia after sanctions, right? And the thumbnail is him doing this, like that, like, oh, they have a ton of oil. They have so much oil, it should be costing nothing. He might be a performance artist, I don't know. But it's clearly not true. So most of the titles since he started doing, like, they've just been pandering. Hang on, let's see if we can. Well, the last one he did was 2 days ago. Gasoline prices in Russia after sanctions. They got a ton of oil and gas. They have nobody to sell it to. They have more than enough. The gas prices wouldn't be up. That would be one thing that would be cheap as dirt. Okay? Cheap as dirt. Well, he's probably forced to do this. He's on YouTube. Then the one right before that was 3 days ago, and it was their, pulling on the heartstrings. It's their baby girl's 1 year old today. I don't know if that's really her birthday or not. I'm not going to speculate on if that's bullshit. But once again, right after that, 4 days ago, we saw how are Russians going to survive under sanctions? I don't know. You have a dictator that invaded a country. You know what my suggestion to you is, Dan, is that you protest like the other people that are protesting. And better yet, I'm sorry that I feel for you the Russian people. I do. I know that it's not good for them. But, I mean, come on. You've had a dictator in office for years. You had a guy that changed it so that he can just stay in office forever. Forever. As long as he, and people that run against the guy end up getting poisoned. Dan. So, here it is. How are Russians going to survive under sanctions? I don't know. You're not getting bombed, so stop crying. Nobody's invading your country, so stop crying. You should consider yourself lucky because you know what, Dan? The people in Ukraine, they're getting bombed and don't have water and electricity. You do. You do, Dan? What are you complaining about? How are Russians going to survive under sanctions? I don't know. Maybe you shouldn't ask people on YouTube. Maybe you should pose that question to your dictator, Putin. Okay? So he has a platform with a decent amount of subs. He can use videos to spread awareness about what's happening. And he can't, Toxic. You know why? What happens if he does that? He's going to jail. He has to do this. They're telling him he has to do this. Now, right after that, I know, it pisses me off too. Right after that one, prices in Russian grocery stores after sanctions with their sad face. Your country invaded another country. You have a dictator that you all just allow to stay in there. And you know what? Westerners have now 7 billion abused people who work their asses off for 500 million Westerners are rich. Oh, God. Here we go. See, now we have, like, the Russian trolls coming in. It's ridiculous, Dan. I'm sorry that you have to post this crap. I'm sorry you have to put these videos out that are BS. I understand the problem that it is. But for any Russian that sees this, man, you're President Putin, the dictator, who, if you run against him, you end up getting things happen to you, right? Do you all know that? He invaded a country. He did it 8 years ago. He annexed Crimea. Now he's just invading a country. And let me tell you something. If any of the Russians see this, this is the truth. He's saying that he's trying to go in there and like clear it of Nazis. Do you know that the president of Ukraine is Jewish? You're being lied to just constantly. We just got rid of a president who a lot of Russians seem to like, which I don't know why. He was a liar too. If you have a president that is Russian people, if you have a president that is taking away free speech like the news agencies and controlling what you hear, not letting you on Facebook, not letting you on social media, do you think that something might be askew? Do you think something's wrong, maybe? We had a politician telling us that anything that was said that was not good about him was fake news. That's what you all have too. Putin uses the same term, fake news. Does that make sense? So it's only fake news, right? It's fake news if it's not what they're telling you to hear. They want you to hear a certain thing, and if you hear that, then that's not fake news. But they write that. They're spinning everything in their favor. You all are being screwed. There are Russians that know this, and there's been thousands of Russians already in some of the major cities that have gotten arrested protesting about the war in Ukraine. It's a war. You people in Russia can't even say war. You can't use the word war. You're threatened with 15 years in jail for just saying war. Instead, it's like a military operation, you can say. Your country, your soldiers, were outside the largest nuke power plant in Europe, shooting at it, right? Do you know what your president said? He said it was the Ukrainians doing it. It's their own power plant. Why are you all putting up with this crap? Why are you putting up with somebody that just wants to stay in office? That's a dictator and his rich buddies. You all know this. Like in our country, if I'm poor, I could go buy a gun. Supposedly in Russia, you can't do that too, right? No, you can't. You know that only if you're rich. Only if you're rich. You don't have any freedom there, right? And they're taking something. They're trying to take a country that has freedom. They can go buy guns. They can walk in a store, fill out paperwork, I get a gun. You can't do that. They have freedom of speech. They have, they can say what they want on the newspapers. You're You can't. That's controlled by your stinking Putin. Hang on, Russians are used to being pressured by the government, unfortunately. Now with technology, the youth are far more aware than their elders. Yeah, that would be true. And I know that there's people, look, they can get rid of some social media, but there's got to be tech savvy people over there in Russia that are finding this out. The problem is this. Look, there's a lot of people my age that believe Trump, right? That's true. A lot of boomers, they just believed him, or they didn't care that he was lying because he was saying something that they liked. Either it was about you can keep your guns, which nobody's telling them that they're going to take away their guns, or it was about like it was racial. It was related to race. People are afraid of anybody that's different. So if you grow up in an area where you're not used to seeing people of color, you're like, oh, it's different. It's got to be bad or something. Or like gender related stuff. Like Destiny said it today. That's their problem. It is their problem, but it's just a fact that it exists. Like I live in this area. It's like totally white for the most part. There's a lot of people that have like these redneck ideals here because they're just not used to dealing with people of color. Where like if you're in New York City, man, you deal with everybody. Hey, there's, whatever. Who cares? Who cares? But Destiny's right. Like, that's their problem. It is their problem, but it's everybody else's problem because it exists. So it's sort of like that. So we had a president that was feeding into that, like telling people what they want to hear. Oh, like, there's good people, they're white supremacists? No, there aren't. That's ridiculous. We had a president that said that. There's good people on both sides. No, there were good people that were telling the white supremacists to get the fuck out. How is somebody that's a white supremacist good? That was our president that was back in. There were good people on both sides. What the fuck? I don't care what you think over there, okay? If you're a racist, you're homophobic, whatever. That's your business. But you certainly don't want to be lied to, do you? Do you want to be lied to? You have a president that just is blatantly lying and doesn't give you the freedom to say what you want. You don't have freedom. You have how many countries are sanctioning? Dan, you big baby, you're getting sanctioned for a reason. Do you want your daughter to grow up in this country like this? Have some balls. Stop posting the stuff, take it down, and refuse to do it. That's all you have to do. You do not have to post this stuff. You don't have to make these videos, do you? No, you don't. That could be your form of protest. That's already been done in Russia, by the way. Instead of, what was it, Rain? Right? The channel Rain? Maybe it's a radio station, whatever. Instead of posting stuff that the government was giving them, they just shut it down. They're like, okay, we're over. We're not going to post disinformation like this. What? Who? Trump? He never condemned it, okay? So don't even start. See, by the way, there's a lot of Russian troll activity on all social media. Beware. I just stopped posting, doing live video on Facebook for right now. What's the point? This is easier to control. When I see it, I know what they're doing. I can spot those things a mile away. They don't have profile pictures ever, by the way. Usually they don't. They don't take time to do that. They just, that the person I just got rid of, they're opening up another account. That's how they do it. But it's outrageous. It's outrageous. The only way this is going to end is if it gets bad for Russia and the Russian people stand up to Putin. That's it. You have a bunch of rich people that are pushing around poor people. There's a bunch of rich people in this country. It's true. But we have freedom. We almost lost it with the last president, too, who tried to cheat to stay president. We could have really lost it. We could have ended up like you. Thank God we didn't end up like Russia. I know another dog got hacked recently. Unfortunately, I had to block the account and had to change all my passwords in case. Another dog trainer I know got hacked recently. What do you mean, like their channel, or how'd they get hacked, Toxic? By the way, I was hacked about 3 weeks ago, and it was all by Russians. I'm sorry. I mean, everything was in Russian writing. It was obvious. To sell Bitcoin, to scam Bitcoin. Oh, that's an honest living, isn't it? Putin. That's the way I look at it. It's Putin, because Putin okays everything. If you don't have his A-OK, that's how it works in that country. The richest man in the world, Putin. And he doesn't have enough. He doesn't have enough. It's pathetic. Why would... If you were president of a country, like, wouldn't you want to just, like, do your term and leave? And maybe go fishing? Vlad? Go up to Siberia and fish for muskie or pike or whatever with your shirt off, acting tough? Their Instagram, they started sending messages that were completely out of character and advertising stuff too to me. Was it female? Is there a female dog trainer? Because that can happen through Facebook and Instagram, right? Like you'll get like Ray-Ban glasses. Well, yes. Yes, that's true. In Russia, to protest individually, you need to ask the government for a permit to protest. So you wouldn't be able to just join a protest that you see in the street as you can be arrested. What's your point? What's your point? The point is you need to stand up to this. You're not going to go ask for a permit. They're not going to give you one, Tool. You know, here, this is like, see, this is like another, that's Russian. That's pretty much Russian. It's about plausible deniability. So this person's saying, yeah, well, you can't protest because, you know, you're never, what do you want to live with Putin for the rest of your lives? Do you want to, that's being a sheep. Our country stood up. We stood up to a king years ago. Okay, better example, say I'm giving away this blah, blah, blah. Click the link below. Yeah, they're a Canadian dog trainer. I've seen it more often with people's accounts lately. Oh, I don't click any, no. Dude, there's people that put stuff in live streams and under videos that go right in, they're hidden instantly, right? Like a playlist. I'm not clicking that, and nobody else is either. It's deleted. Does anyone know if there's any payment specifically to report Russian trolls? It's about time. No, there's not. A troll is a troll. A troll is a troll. There's no like Russian troll or no. To report a Russian troll, it's sort of okay to troll. There's nothing against the community guidelines. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's sort of okay. You can say crappy things about people. That's okay. You can't spam. You can't say certain things, of course. But just trolling? It's the setup that we have. Do you understand what I'm saying? This isn't, it isn't like watching NBC. You get to make a comment. As long as your comment doesn't, go against community guidelines, They can make it. And it's the owner's responsibility to get rid of it, the owner of the channel. You can hide it, you can report it, but if it's something that's like not against community guidelines, there's you don't really do anything about it. You just get rid of it and move on. Listen, YouTube's doing what they can about it. They can. It's a huge company, it's Google. They're doing what they can about it, but come on. They're gonna do it. That's their deal, disinformation. I'm sure that they're working on, I'm sure they're trying to do their best. So I'm sure if stuff's coming out of St. Petersburg or something, they're looking at it. I don't know. Seeing this Dan guy doing propaganda is just like, they have all the oil they want and gas. Russia does. And he's saying, oh, the prices have gone up in Russia? Doesn't even make sense, Dan. Doesn't make sense. Does it? It doesn't to me. Your ruble is worthless. That makes sense. So if your ruble's worth like less than a penny, maybe that's what you're talking about. But it's not the West, it's not our problem. Your country invaded a country. They're bombing civilians. See this guy? He needs to go. Where do I find good information on this? Like, oh, okay, buddy. Turn on any TV, fool. A lot of Russian ransomware has been spread around as of late where they, that only is, yes, that's true. But that only helps them if they go after somebody that like a city or like a school. Like if they did ransomware on my computer, it's worthless. I'll go get a new computer. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not paying them. What? Oh, you want $400? Nah, I'll go buy a new computer. See what I'm saying? So it's just like they do it to like big organizations like universities, stuff like that. Electrical power plant. They ask for millions of dollars. They're not going to do it for a $400 computer. Okay, take it. Don't really care. What are you going to do? I already dealt with my YouTube channel getting hijacked. That was about as bad as it could get. So, I got through that. If that happened again, I'd deal with it again. It'd be easier to deal with the second time, that's for sure. I'll be on that shit on like stink on catfish. I got everything written down and everything. Big deal. I know how to contact, get it going. Be down for 3 days. Might lose some, my numbers are in the shitter right now, but who cares, man? I've been doing this for 12 years. I got 189,000 subs. Oh, I'm going to lose some subs. Big deal. I haven't given up yet. Why would I give a shit? It's not what I'm about, so fuck it, I don't care. But this guy Dan is annoying. Like, talk about like specifically he works in, who does? My dad works as an IT, so I imagine things are really difficult right now with everything going on. I'd imagine. Yeah, he's got to deal with it. BS, that's for sure. This guy Dan, though, what a shill. Let me look at this guy again. Oh, gasoline prices in Russia. What about gasoline prices in the United States, douche? What about gasoline prices in the Ukraine? They don't have any. What about water in the Ukraine and lights? Dan? What about that? Do you worry about that? I don't hear him say one thing about the Ukraine. It's just like, oh, poor Russia. Poor Russia. We're getting sanctioned. What about these people? I saw dead people on TV, right? They got bombed by your army. And their army is giving them, like, told them that they were going to, like, set up these times where, like, the civilians could leave. They've done it twice. So when the people start to leave, they start bombing them. What's that? What's that? Dan? So worried about gas prices. Oh, here, right after he's talking about how much food is costing 6 days ago in Russian grocery stores. Way to keep in touch with us. Oh, okay, Dan. I don't think I want to keep in touch with you. I mean, Dan, let's see. Yeah, see, this all started recently. Before that, it was like he was doing a thing on baskets. He was doing a thing with his kid, priceless moments. Some looks like large megalith type thing in Russia. How to make borscht. And then, then all of a sudden, he starts crying about sanctions. Prices in Russian, how to keep in touch with us. That was 8 days ago. I didn't listen to it. I don't need to. I wouldn't give him any views. I wouldn't watch this guy. That's what I'm saying. I wouldn't watch him. He's propaganda now. It's just so obvious. Like, what do you do? It's YouTube. Is he saying anything like real bad? It's sort of woe is me. We have sanctions. Well, Dan, yeah, you do. MasterCard and Visa hightailed it out of Russia. There's all these companies that don't want to deal with your country anymore. Why do you think that is, Dan? Why do you think that is? Yeah, well, let Finland in. Let him in. What's going on in Finland? Well, here, I'll tell you what's the problem with Finland. The nuke power plant that the Russians captured, that they're forcing the Ukrainians to, like, the Ukraines, however you want to call it, to run it at gunpoint. They were shooting outside that thing to get in there. There was a fire. Hang on. I might have to get rid of this guy. I feel like there should be a rule with NATO and then other. Just can't immediately. They can't. So, what's your point, man? What's your point? Go away or else I'm going to think that you're trolling. Just keep talking. Finland's worried that the big dirty bomb's going to come. Coming up there because there's an air current going up that way because they're in control of that nuke power plant. They already said, this is outrageous. Putin was saying that it was the Ukrainians that attacked their own power plant. What? It's not even run. It's not really. It's being run by Ukrainians, but there's Russian soldiers and they're making them run it. You're being lied to, Russia. They were shooting. Yes. Do you watch the news? Do you ever turn on the news? You don't know this? You people that don't watch the news might want to start. But I said this when we had Trump in office and you didn't care. You kept watching Fox. So this video evidence the Russians are the ones that attacked it. Yes, exactly. Yes, they're in there forcing them to work too. They want to control the power so that they can turn it off at will and turn it on. Anyway, I was just so annoyed with this guy, Dan's channel. You know, he should. I wish he would have just stayed doing his like Russian life stuff. That was sort of interesting. But instead, like, now it's like, oh, the sanctions. Yeah, that's what happens when you have Putin as a president, Dan. You know that. You're being forced to put out garbage on YouTube. And now that you have millions of views, now you're going to have to do more, aren't you? And I saw some of the comments under him, Dan. It's so clear. We love you both and all this stuff. You all are awful. Or you guys aren't awful. You all aren't awful. The Russian people aren't awful. Putin's awful. But it's terrible. It's awful what they're writing. I don't think that's you writing it. I think that that's Russian people writing it. I don't think that they're making it sound like it's people from, wherever the West writing it. It's clearly not. We love you. You guys are so great. We hope this awful war ends soon. No, you don't. You started it. You started it, Russia. Yeah, you have access to internet. No excuse for lack of coverage. I'm in the UK. We don't get much coverage. You're a liar. That person isn't even in the UK. Let's get rid of them. You're in the UK. There's no coverage. That's just an idiot. You could turn on anything. You could turn on YouTube, the front page of YouTube. It's all over YouTube. That's a ridiculous statement. I had to get rid of that. It is. It's ridiculous. The only way this is going to get better is if the Russian people stand up to this guy, the dictator that they have. I feel for him. You get brainwashed or something, and then you're stuck. You're stuck. Like this guy, Dan. Now he's putting out propaganda for the guy. Oh, sanctions. Oh. It's going to get a lot worse, probably. I would imagine. I don't know. That's what it sounds like. Seems like every day some company pulls out of Russia. They're having trouble, people getting out of Russia now. Nobody wants Russian planes flying into their country. Dan, I'm sorry, but maybe you could just say, I don't want to do any video, but instead you do video. How are you going to survive with the sanctions? Dan, the Ukrainians are being bombed. How are they going to survive? Like, millions have already left that country running. There's still millions stuck, though. Maybe like 1.5 million or something. They don't have food. They have bombs being dropped on them, Dan. And you're worried about the sanctions? You're worried. How are you going to survive with the sanctions? I don't know, man. Maybe start a garden. That's what I would do. I would start a garden, Dan. You got a baby to feed. Don't you have chickens? I think you got chickens and stuff. I think you'll be just fine. You probably have people from the U.S. that are PayPaling you money too. Putin probably takes a cut of that. Dan, really, you'll be just fine. But I do feel sorry for you all, and it is going to get real tight over there. And sanctions are they're just a way of life now. It's just going to happen. And listen, prices of everything are going up here too, Dan. But as of right now, we don't have bombs dropping on our head like the Ukrainians. I don't know what it would be. The people of Ukraine. What are you worried about, Dan? What are you worried about? Stop putting out propaganda for Putin. And go out in the streets, you know, just go out in the streets. So, yeah, you might get arrested. That's right. But what's your choice? Do you really have a choice? You want to live with Putin as your president? Make a sign that says, Putin, get out of the whatever, the Kremlin. Yeah, I bet the stock market's going to be. What stock market? The ruble's under a penny or something. I got to go deal with the dogs. Dan, if you see this, I'm serious. Stop putting out your woe is me. How are we going to survive with the sanctions? Get a garden going, buddy. I wish you luck. I wish all you people of Russia good luck, but, you know, it could turn around real quick if there was somebody else in office that was, like, normal. Putin is not normal. So, do you want a good life? Then you want to live in a democracy. You don't want... Your elections aren't fair. Everybody knows it. It's sad but true. But the only way, Dan, that it's going to get better is by the majority of your country standing up to Putin and saying enough. Get out. Get out. And I sure hope, I know at some point it's going to come down to this. And I hope and pray that a lot of people aren't hurt or killed when they do it. I'm wishing the best for you all. I am. But I mean, Ukraine's got it worse, Dan. They got it a lot worse. And they didn't ask for it. They didn't ask for this. And it's your all's responsibility as Russian citizens to get the dictator out of office. It's your responsibility. Every one of you Russians, it's your responsibility. All right? I wish you luck, and I hope you guys can do something about it, because the world doesn't need this. Good luck, Dan. Stop